Our Reader's Theater, revised from a much longer play that was written by Jan Quackenbush. It was about 30 pages long, and I worked on it and revised it for our Reader's Theater. I want to give credit to the original playwright. A Touch of Frost. Wilford is a middle-aged man, and he has just moved from New York to a new farm in Vermont. Upon his arrival, he realizes that his neighbors may be a little bit strange, and he wonders if they're even from this planet. The neighbors consist of Mila, who is the wife and mother, Klig, who is the son, and the husband and father, Kulerie. Their adjoining farms are separated only by a stone wall, which is the focus of this Reader's Theater. Wilford is played by Thomas Hanson. Mila is played by Leah Swab. Klig by Tom Blanford. And Kulerie by Reggie. So let us begin. The Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps that even two can cross abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they've left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line. We set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves and some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned, we say to the stones. We wear our fingers rough from handling them. Oh, just another land of our outdoor games here on the farm. One on a side, it comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I'm all apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones from his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But there are no cows here. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves, and I'd rather he say it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone, grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me. Not of woods only, and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. And once again he says, good fences make good neighbors. It is the merry, merry month of May in the countryside of Vermont.
So this is dawn in Vermont. Ah, perfect. Serene. Sky is a painting meant for a gallery.
Kulerie.
Excuse me?
Good morning, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Kulerie.
Well, good morning to Klig too, I guess.
Oh, it was so unexpected that we landed here.
Well, life, the twists and turns in life. For me, from New York City to a farm in Vermont, almost overnight it seems. So unexpected and so amazing.
And your farm has been vacant for 100 years. We, on our side of the wall, we have had no one to talk to.
Well, good morning. I am Wilford.
I am Mila.
Ah, and Kulerie, is that a bird?
Oh no, that's my husband. He's lost.
Husband? Oh,
Yes, he's been lost for a while now.
I'm sorry.
Me too. It's been hard. No one to talk to, no one to love except Klig,
Klig?
our son.
Well, I think I understand. You see, when Carla left me, it crushed me. I needed to leave. Quite sudden, quite impulsive. I read the ad in the paper about an abandoned farm in Vermont, and of course, the word abandoned struck a chord with me. And so, well, suddenly it seems so I am here, finding myself at dawn, amid the merry month of May, at my stone wall on my mount farm in Vermont, across from my neighbor, a complete stranger to me, a widow, a mother, and I say, hail to life, hail to new beginnings.
It's not your wall, it's our wall.
Ah, our wall. Well, hail anyway.
My field extends north, and this is the north field. It ends 1 foot under this wall. Yours is the south field, and it extends also beneath this wall. I own most of the land under the wall, and you own the least, but together we share it. We have joint ownership.
Well, whatever.
I don't fully understand walls, but for whatever reason, we share one, Mr. Wilford.
Yes. So another unexpected turn. By the way, my full name is Wilford Cranny. Have you ever read any of my novels?
Well, my eyesight is very poor, Mr. Wilford.
Well then, just call me Will.
Will. Fine.
So I guess it was your note I found pinned to the cherry tree by my kitchen door. Meet me at dawn, at the break of dawn at the stone wall.
Yes, I apologize for the poor writing. I was surprised you could read it.
Not a problem, but it was a strange print, very strange writing indeed. But I did figure it out.
Well, I suppose we should begin. I can't stay out long in the heat.
Begin what?
Mending the wall. You see what frost has done? Every year it uplifts the stones and topples them. It is an ugly wall.
Yes, it is an ugly wall.
Klig and I are tired of fixing this wall year after year all by ourselves. So when I learned you were here, I promised I would ask you to help. Frankly, we hate fixing it. We get so angry at frost.
Frost. You have hit on a good theme there. Vermont, Frost, Robert Frost in his poem Mending Wall, you see?
Well, I guess I should, but I don't.
Well, if you don't read, that is a problem. I hate walls.
And I hate frost.
Why?
Because of frost, here they are strewn every which way. Each one has to be picked up and set on top of the wall, as if restoring the wall were the most important thing on earth. Why? Klig and I have asked ourselves, why put this wall up in the first place? Why?
Oh, I see. You are certainly a Frostian. The
A Frostian?
Mending Wall poem. In the poem, Frost wants to know what he is walling in and what he is walling out before he sets to build a wall.
Afraid I do not understand.
Everything aside, neither of us wants this wall in our field.
But perhaps we should keep it.
Why? Do you have sheep, horse, pigs, chicken, any livestock, animals?
Oh, nothing like that.
Then for freedom, for trust between us, let's bulldoze and bust it up. We will have open farmland. This is Vermont. This is humanity.
That's a new idea. I need to think about it.
Mom,
Yes, what is it?
Mom, you forgot to take your morning sustenance, and you know you get sick in the heat of the sun if you don't. I don't want you to be sick.
Klig, this is our new neighbor, Mr. Wilford. Mr. Wilford wants to take the wall down.
And never rebuild it?
Never.
As Klig turns to walk away, Mr. Wilford sees two antennae on Klig's head.
Klig, I told you to stay in the house or at least wear your hat outside.
I don't care if he sees me. I don't care if he sees my antenna. And it's more important that you get your sustenance and not get sick.
Uh, uh, oh my. On second thought, uh, I think we better leave it.
And he starts to pick up stones and replace them on the wall.
And you say my field runs 67.5 rods from the oak tree. I'm really afraid that I may not be far enough. We may need to build the wall longer, bigger.
They continue to mend the wall. Two roads diverge in a wood.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, and I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and unwanted where, though it's for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step and trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I should be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
It's a beautiful summer day in July at the wall of the countryside of Vermont. A great day for a picnic. Wilford is teaching Mila about some of Robert Frost poetry.
And I shall be telling this with a sigh. What's a sigh?
No, it is a sigh, and it means like taking a deep breath and letting it out.
Wilford
Great day
gives
for
a
a
big
picnic, isn't it?
sigh.
Great day for a picnic, isn't it?
What's that? A picnic?
Picnic. It's what we are doing, eating outside with a tablecloth tossed across the wall. Now, back to the poem.
I shall be telling this with a. How's that?
Great. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And I shall be telling this with a sigh. Ha ha. He then stares at Mila.
Is something wrong? What's wrong?
Well, you see, as we first met in the month of May, and now as we are into the month of July, I simply cannot bring myself to discuss you with any human being at the country store, for example, or the police, or NASA, or on the internet.
But why?
Please hear me out. I am determined to keep you and Klig all to myself. And in so doing, I am being the grand protector. While my emotions run strong, I shall forever keep the secret of you all to myself, whereas anyone else would report you immediately, I fear. Anyone else would report you, but I will take the road less traveled by. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Yes, indeed.
Willie, have you observed how people at the store look from the corner of their eyes?
Oh, no. I make Hale and Hardy with them. I try to stand close so that I may hear if they're saying anything about you and Klig. Listen for words like strange, alien, subversive, odd.
Strange? But, Willie, I must tell you something.
Okay, I guess if you don't know the word sigh, you don't know the word strange either.
But, Willie, I must tell you something.
Okay, but we must resume our study of the poem, telling this with a sigh for ages and ages hence, and then there he brings it all together with the two roads diverging from a point of difference. You see, that is where personal perspective comes in about the two roads diverging.
But, Willie, I must tell you something. The people at the store know all about me.
They know about you and they don't capture you. They have done nothing at all.
Capture me? No, not at all. They are very nice to Klig and me. This is Vermont, you know. Actually, you are the only one they are suspicious of. They watch your every move. They talk about you as being strange.
Me? Strange? I don't understand. What have I done to deserve that? What I have done that is strange?
They think you are odd. They notice that you have never spoken to them about Klig and me. Yet we are neighbors, and neighbors are expected to know and speak of each other. You remain silent.
I am protecting you.
From what? Why? They have never harmed me or tried to. They are upset with you because you have refused to acknowledge me.
But I am very accepting of you.
No, no, you aren't. You refused to take down the wall between us. I was eager to take down the wall in May. Klig and I were both here, but you refused me. You left us standing there. If you truly accepted me, the wall would come down.
Down, down. And I took the one less traveled by. That's frost for you. Taking the one less traveled by. But he doesn't say where the road will lead. And the strange yellow wood. Oh, who cares?
All Klig and I could do was start mending the wall again. Are you listening?
I suppose tearing down the wall, from my perspective, is a radical divergence. Ha, ha. I will get started.
Now, in July? In this blazing July sun?
I think we ought to ask about that. Why was there just one road? Why did it diverge? What caused it to diverge? And why just one side? Yes, we ought to ask about that. Before the divergence, he is standing on the one road and one road only. He looks down the road much as I look down the length of this wall. And he sighs just once. Whereupon he sees anew, he sees the point of divergence.
Where? Where?
There, it occurs. Tearing down the barrier between us is a radical act. It is not common for walls to stand between neighbors.
It is most common.
Mom, Jason asked me to play baseball at the park. Is that okay with you?
Yes, have a good time.
Hey, you taking the wall down? We've been talking about that in school.
You go to school?
Yes, of course. We've been talking about all walls, stone walls like this wall. Some say that we shouldn't take walls down. They can represent heritage, like archaeology or something. But I'm glad you are taking it down. I'm tired of rebuilding walls all the time. But the people on the Heritage Committee aren't going to like you taking down the wall. They will say walls are about heritage.
Heritage Committee. Who are they?
But I hate that wall. I hate walls. I'm glad you're taking it down. Go ahead and smash that wall to hell. Bye, Mom.
What shall we do? Diverge a little? Keep the gap we created and the wall?
Well, once upon a time, in a galaxy far away, happiness and joy.
Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Oh, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Now, it is winter on the countryside of Vermont. They are bundled up, trying to stay warm.
Kulerie, we had no shape nor form. We were as light beams. We have been meeting for weeks. I read you alter it. I read you alter it. You keep trying to change everything. I might never finish my journal of my time here. And then if Kulerie never arrives, what will he have? He will know nothing of you or my life here.
You are writing about me?
Yes, and in my diary, because you have affected my life greatly. You have altered boundaries. You have altered my language. We had no shape or form. We were as light beams, and I told him to pay heed to the danger. Once upon a time, floating, flying, being light or rays or beams or particles, magically held together and very aware of forces tingling within us. We traveled, journeyed in an arc. I think as we were meant to do, and that was all I remember. We came to know things, all kinds of things as we traveled. Kulerie and I made promises to each other, real promises, and we must keep, or that we must keep. Promises that if we ever became separated, we would never forget each other, but instead wait patiently, eternally, and with a great big sigh. Oh, Mr. Wilford, sigh with me. I feel something strange. I feel that Kulerie is very near. If only he could hear us. Oh, Mr. Willard, shout with me.
Kulerie,
Kulerie.
Kulerie.
Suddenly, Kulerie appears from behind the wall.
Oh, darling, here you are here. Come through the gap.
Gap. Gap.
It's an
It's an
opening in the wall. Mila and I worked together to make it. Walk right through.
Who is he?
He is Wilford, New York City. Carla left him. He is the ha-ha man. Wilford writes.
Wilford pulls out his notebook.
See here? This is my new writing. It's a novel called Promises to Keep. It's Frostian. I made promises too. I promised when Carl and I separated that I should work to improve myself. And I have been in the lonely hours. in the desperate weeks and months. That day will come, I promise, when Carla and I will be together again.
Wilford, your novel is not complete. Should we stay until you finish it?
No. No. I needed a lot more time.
Well, Klig has already come off and is up. He's up there waiting for us. We should go too.
And they all look skyward.
Remember me. Sing with us as we go.
Mila, Kulerie, Wilford, and Klig sing.
Kwi hana,
Hana, ke hana.
kwi hana, kwi hana,
Right.
Kulerie,
Hana. Wilford watches them leave, looking up at the sky, waving goodbye,
And
and they are gone.
I have promises to keep. Promises to keep. Well, here's one promise I can and must make. Remove things that block me. Open up my world. What would I wall in? What would I wall out? Nothing. Taking down walls is hard work.
And Wilford begins to take down the wall, one stone at a time. And so the story goes. What are we walling in? What are we walling out? And what walls do we need to tear down? Great job, everyone. Great job. And open for discussion of any hidden meanings you saw in the play. Or any thoughts about our walls today, or about what was going on, or about the poetry of Frost and what he meant. We're just open for discussion.
I thought it was interesting when Wilford wanted to keep them a secret. Why he wanted to keep them a secret, I'm not sure. He wanted to keep them to himself because he was protecting them, but as he's protecting them, he's keeping things in. So that was interesting how he wanted to, as his perspective was to not say anything or talk about them so no one will know about them, so he can keep them safe. But they already knew about them, and they thought that he was odd because he didn't talk about them. So I thought that perspective was really different. Like, why did he want to keep them to himself? Like, why do you feel like you have to keep them to yourself? Why do you feel that they were in danger? What was his thought and process, you know? Tom, you did that very well. I felt like you were that character. I think some of the things that were happening to that person or the thought process remind me of you. It did. You know, the storyline, he lost his wife or loved one. I don't know if she died or they just separated. And then, you know, you have that experience and then trying to rebuild yourself or reinvent yourself, going to a new place that's unknown and just trying something different. And that's what you have done too. So I saw that connection there too. But again, I want to know why. What do you all think that why was he trying to hold them in? Why was he trying to protect them? Why did he feel like, oh, I can't tell anybody you're here. It's our secret. Why was it a secret? Why do you feel like you needed to protect them? Because they were different?
He didn't trust the larger community when it really boiled down to just himself.
Yeah.
We seem to isolate ourselves from different groups and what have you. That's very evident in Charlotte. We have two Charlottes here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's an imaginary wall, but really it exists. And just given, I'm going to go back to politics. Had maybe things would have been different if we had reached that segment of Charlotte that really is marginalized and not thought about until you knock on the door and ask for a vote. that one day when people are going through all kinds of situations, and you're going to knock one day and ask for someone
Yes.
to take them for granted.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I understand that too. Because why didn't you come knock on my door before then? Why didn't you come see if I was okay before then? Why didn't you come check on me and see if I need anything before then? But now that you want something, you're gonna come knock on my door. I mean, you're not even gonna help me out later on. You just want something from me, but you're not really gonna give anything back.
exactly.
Yeah.
Good point.
And so the person that's saying that is thinking like, why should I even help you? You know,
Exactly.
that's my attitude. Why should I even help you? You didn't even care about me. So why should I give you what you need right now so desperately? And they closed the door. It's like, forget you. I'm gonna go on with my life the way it was.
And that's
I
why
mean,
we,
I'm not sure. There's two Charlottes. There may be three Charlottes.
well,
I'm
I'm trying to
talking.
make it simple, Tom. I think it's they have and they have nots. And
Yeah.
there is, it's like a pancake. There's two sides to a pancake, but there's something in the middle of the pancake. Sometimes it's completely done and sometimes it isn't. That's my simple analogy this morning.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but I also think one of the strategies to keep people divided is to separate the have-nots into groups. So there's the Spanish-speaking have-not, there's African American have-not, there's a poor white have-nots, and so there's strategies to try to keep all of those people feeling like there is nothing in common, that they have no
Exactly.
common interest.
Exactly.
I don't know what to really attribute this to, but if you've noticed my pictures that I've sent back of the neighborhoods in Calgary, my son lives in a duplex. His family lives up on the top, and there's an older lady who lives in a one-bedroom apartment on the bottom. And I mean, it's a nice little duplex, but it is by far nothing fancy. But their neighborhoods are so mixed. Two doors down, there's $1 million home.
Ah,
You know, two doors down, there's another duplex, and then there's a five. It's very mixed neighborhoods. They live together. They know each other. Their children play together in the neighborhood. And yet, in Charlotte, every time I hear the mention of, oh, I think we'll build duplexes, and duplexes are great. You can house two families in them. People go crazy. Not in my neighborhood, not in my neighborhood.
why?
It works. At least it works there. And maybe there's a different mindset there. But if there is, we need to change our mindset because I just see a huge difference because of that. And I walk the neighborhoods, my granddaughter and I walk all the time, and I see it everywhere. And the first time I went, I was just shocked.
Why don't they want a duplex up in their neighborhood? What does that mean? Why is that bad?
Well,
Because they're rentals and they think it's
Oh,
going to be undesirable people.
oh, okay.
and also they think the value of their home will go down.
Oh, okay.
But they did, they started a project like that right outside of DC, was in Maryland. It worked for about 20 or 30 years. They have several projects in and around the United States that they've kind of put this model together. But I don't know what happened to the one in Maryland, because that worked for a long time. All kinds of cultures, all kinds of economic groups, and I forget the name of it. Does anyone remember?
No,
Mm-mm.
Tom probably knows.
Tom,
Yeah,
you remember?
I was thinking Columbia was a
Yes,
planned,
that's it. That's it.
yeah, Columbia
Now,
was a planned community like
yeah,
that.
how's that working now?
Um, the places that used to be low and mixed income, prices are shooting up and people are being forced out. Because even a place that used to be $80,000 is now $350,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Because
it was a good plan, but there was no strategy to maintain.
to maintain, exactly. Well, also because of the dynamics in DC, they decided to really move people out and gentrification took over there. So they dumped a lot of folk from DC into Columbia, I understand.
Yeah, and Prince
And
George,
again, with no strategy.
right.
But you know, too, Habitat House. Oh my goodness, don't even talk about putting a Habitat House in somebody's neighborhood. And those are some of the finest people you will ever meet.
Mhm.
Some of the very finest people you'll ever meet. And yet people are not in my neighborhood, and it's very, very frustrating. And back in the play, one thing I noticed kind of in the middle scene, halfway through, and I haven't figured out exactly the meaning yet. They were having a picnic,
Yeah.
and it said the cloth was across the wall,
Yeah.
and the food was
The wall.
evidently sitting on the
On the
wall,
wall.
on the cloth,
Yeah.
and they were each on one side. And I just thought that is saying something. They're getting there. They're almost there.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, like, why didn't you go on the other side of the wall? So, okay, we're gonna have a picnic. Okay, I'll come on your side. Oh, well, you come on my side. You know, like, why is the wall there? Like, why did you put the cloth over the wall? Just bring it on my side, or I'll come on your side, and we'll have the picnic and do the poetry. Like, why is it on the wall? You know?
It's
Why
odd.
have
It's
why
odd
have
that
the why
the wall is bringing them together.
But yet it's
no,
separating them at the same time.
Yep.
It's separating them at the same time. So someone has to say, I'll just come over your side and, forget about the wall. I'm going to kind of have the picnic on your side. So I'm going to jump over the wall or climb over the wall and I'll bring all my stuff over there. Or you come on my side and then we can have the picnic and do the poetry. Why is the wall dividing us so we can't have the picnic together?
well, and why not just before the picnic tear down the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As cruise ships, was that cruise ship
yeah,
tear down the wall?
That was
yeah.
Ronald, I think that was Ronald Reagan.
That was
Ronald
Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah. When they took down the wall in
Take
Germany.
down this wall, Mr. Khrushchev.
Yeah. In
Yeah,
Germany, I think it was.
yes.
Yeah.
I grew up in a little tiny town in northwest Iowa that we had lots of walls. One of the bigger walls was between the Catholics and the Protestants. And the Catholics liked that wall. They had their own schools. They didn't like us to like their people to associate with Protestants. And that persisted until my senior year in high school when they finally merged the Catholics and the Protestants into one class.
That's crazy.
It was.
That sounds crazy. That sounds just like,
Well,
segregation.
back when John F. Kennedy was running for president, that was the big hoopla that, oh my gosh, if he wins, he's Catholic and the Vatican is going to control our country.
Right.
Oh, God.
That was the big thing even then.
Okay.
Well, I think it's also easy to oversimplify this because, I have an example from last night. We had a floating Christmas party in the neighborhood, and it
What's a floating Christmas party?
stopped at three different houses, and everybody moved from one house to another.
Oh.
The first house that was hosting had flown a Trump flag, and we didn't go because that's a wall. I will not make any
No.
effort to break down that wall. So other people
No.
went to that house, but not me. So
No.
it's easy to say, okay, we're going to break down all the walls. That's a good thing. I'm not ready.
Yeah. Well, some
No,
walls do need to stay up, like you just said. And those are your own personal walls, your own personal boundaries. And you have to stick to your boundaries. If that's what you feel, then you stick to that. And so that's a wall that shouldn't come down if you feel that way.
and that speaks to what he said in there. What are we walling in? What are we walling
Walling
out
out.
of our lives?
Right.
But I just want to just say to Tom, at some point, we've got to reach out to those folk that were flying the Trump signs and just have a conversation. Have a conversation. I live in a predominantly area. We are not allowed to have signs, but most of them are Trumpers.
Wow.
I engage in conversation with folk because you'd be surprised the more you talk to people, more you have in common, and they don't have the information. A lot of us, a lot of folk here in my community spend a lot of time sitting in front of the Fox TV and getting their
Right.
information.
Right.
And so, and also husbands have told wives that they ought to be, support Trump, all those sort of things. I say that to say that as long as you separate yourself from Trumpers, I think you're probably going to lose something, and that person's going to lose something, because I do think we're all human beings with all kinds of perceptions and information. And the only time you get to have a dialogue is to be able to have that dialogue. And maybe you walk away not really changing their minds, but giving them something to think
about. But he's not ready for that yet, he's saying. He's just not there yet. If
I'm
ever.
not there yet. I don't know
I'm
when
not
I'll be
there. Can't be
I
there.
hear you,
Won't be
but
there.
Because you might end up getting upset and being, say they saying something crazy. He's like, oh my God, that's why I should never talk to you, And but I hear both sides.
We've got a lot of Democrats that are just as in one fashion.
I talked myself out before the election, and a wall was put up to me. So I think that we're going to have to go through a little bit of this term to see what's happening, and for them to see what's happening.
Right.
And perhaps then there can be a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm right now, I'm so angry with them. And I feel like our values are so different. I don't hang out with people with those kind of values. So it's hard, but yeah, Connie, I hear you.
Right now,
Yeah,
I'm in the mindset that I've just got to rest. I can't, for my mental health, I can't engage with those people right now.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. I get that. I get that.
Well, there is some voter remorse already, but before January even has taken over, people are going through, what did I do? Can I change my vote?
No. Can't change it.
It's crazy. I've been involved in curing voters, because of this recall of votes, and folk are concerned, but also the news media. Sometimes it's good to stay off that TV and not listen to any news.
Yes. Yes. I've said that a couple of times. Yeah. Take a break. Give your emotions and your mind a break for yourself.
Going back to the
you often have people who say, you know what, I didn't like either one of them, and I didn't vote for either one.
Oh God.
And those people infuriate me even more because politics affects everybody, and we don't have the luxury. It's a luxury. We don't have the luxury of not voting.
Right.
Because my rights are being infringed upon.
Going back to what we were talking about with Connie said in the beginning, we only go when we need something, knocking on their door. What can we are a social justice community. What can, one of the things we did that I thought was very meaningful that addresses that is the laundromat. And I would like for us to do that again. But are there other things we can do? But I think that is the kind of thing we need to spend our year on, doing that kind of thing, going into those
neighborhoods. Yeah. And maybe just ask them, knock on the door and ask them, instead of a vote, ask them, what is it that you need? What is it that you're struggling to get? What is it? Do you need a ride to the pharmacy? What is it that you need that you can't get, that you have a problem getting? Can we help you with that? Maybe we could knock on doors and take a list. Maybe it's similar, maybe they need some, I don't know, but knock on the doors and ask them, instead of for a vote, ask them, is there some, with Wedgewood community, social justice community, we're coming out here to see, what is it that we can do for you? What can we give you? What can we help you with? What do you need help with? Maybe it's an organization they need. Maybe they need help with their electricity. We can connect them with somebody else, or maybe we could do that part. I wouldn't mind doing that. I don't like knocking on doors, but I'll knock on doors for that.
Well, I'll tell you
Maybe when
something.
school starts, we can go in those neighborhoods with school supplies, not go somewhere and expect them to come to us.
Right, right,
Go
right.
to the neighborhood. Do
Go to
you know, do
them.
your kids need anything for school? I
Yes.
mean, I think
Let's do
that's a
that.
good thing for us as a social justice community to focus on. And Liz, can you maybe get in touch with the laundry people? And maybe
Yes,
see if
I was gonna do
February
that.
sometime, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. They recently had a laundry day, uh and I was gonna reach out to get something scheduled for the new year, so that'd be perfect.
Yeah, let's do it.
And the other thing I'd like to add, it's amazing the services that the county commissioner they do that folk don't even know
So you
about.
know about,
I mean,
right.
so if there was a little, we could actually, I mean, I would do it, give me until January to do it. Come up with contact the county commission. I was out knocking on doors and some roofs. I noticed the roofs were this older person that was like in their 70s, an older person. They were younger than me. But
I do that too, Connie.
That was cute.
but I said, you know, you could get, there are services that will help get your roof repaired. The lady didn't know
You
about it.
know.
Yeah.
You
And-
don't know until someone mentions it to you. I wouldn't know that either. How would I
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah.
I'm here in my little section of the world. No one's coming to me. So how would I know that? I don't have no internet. I don't know nobody. I don't go nowhere, you know?
Exactly.
How would I
think
know?
Mark Gerald is now the new county commissioner chair, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so his mentality is very open to things like that. I mean, I think he's very,
And so is Lee Ottman.
yeah.
hmm I know Mark not very, very well, but I know Mark, and I'm gonna see him actually this coming Tuesday. I might invite him to come and speak at
To
Wedgewood.
speak, yeah. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I'd like for
Who
us,
did you just say?
Mark Jarrell.
Yeah, he spoke at Wedgewood once. I'm sure he would come back and speak again.
We also need to consider inviting Lee Ottman. Lee is Jewish. She's a friend of mine, and we grossly disagree with how this war has gone. But we
Yeah.
still talk about it. We meet and talk about it. She still feels her strong beliefs how it is, and I have my strong beliefs. But we like each other, and we keep the conversation going. She's another one that you really should consider inviting, because she didn't know. You remember when Melba, we went, and Elizabeth and your husband, we went to that Seder.
Yes.
She didn't know anything about that or the group.
Oh,
Hmm.
And so,
interesting.
yeah, that was it. Yeah. So work to be done in 2025. We can't just sit back on our laurels.
No. No.
We've got to
Yeah.
break walls.
Yeah,
No.
Tear
That's
down
right.
walls and build bridges.
Yep.
exactly.
Yep. And bring people together, bring them to knowledge, information, you know, so knowledge and information, the information that they didn't know was there that can help them live a better life in the community that they're in.
Right.
Maybe we can help with a habitat house.
I don't want to
Yeah.
leave. I don't want to leave without mentioning what's going on in Syria in the last 24 hours. And I know Reggie you have friends that migrated from Syria, that were refugees from Syria, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And they're actually texting me as we speak. It's a lot of moving pieces right now. I just got a text a minute ago that says Israel's going into Syria, and so it's getting a little crazy right now. But I guess we can keep some positive vibes and prayers going in that direction, as that regime has now come to an end and folks are going in a lot of different places. Russia's left. You know, they've got people in the streets right now tearing down statues. It's just a lot of mayhem right now. So
I have two students that I taught that got out of Syria. Their dad had been in prison and had been just beaten almost to death. When they let him out, he was in really bad shape. And it was two young girls, and they walked with their mother carrying their dad out of Syria, and they traveled by night and found places to hide during the day. I need to get them to come and tell the story. And that was how they went. They just traveled by night and hid somewhere wherever they could find in the day. And they finally got out of Syria. Their dad, when he got to a hospital, he did pass away in the hospital after they had gotten him out. But they were phenomenal students at CPCC, phenomenal students. I got very close to them. They've now moved to Michigan, but I need to get them to come and tell their story.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Why in the world is Israel going in?
I'm not. It's been happening as we've had our service here, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I've only received text messages.
I
I think
think
they're trying to reinforce the Golan Heights and make sure that they can protect themselves from Hezbollah.
Do you think it's purely defensive?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Well, so the president that had been is out.
Yep.
Yeah, he's out. He's gone.
But he was a bad guy.
He's
He
very
was a bad guy. He used poison gas on his own people.
Yeah.
And even relatives.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
you-
he was Putin back, so everything Putin does, he kills his political enemies. He did the same.
And we have a woman, I can't think of her name, being appointed to the cabinet that has met privately with Assad and says
Tulsi
he's not really
Gabbard.
a bad guy.
Tulsi Gabbard,
Tulsi
yeah.
Gabbard.
Director of National Intelligence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, all right. Well, anyway, I wanted to not go without.
Yeah, thank you. And thank
Without
you
problem.
everyone for a great job this morning, and discussion and on the Reader's Theater was wonderful. And Ashanti will close us out with what I believe is just kind of sums it all up.
Yes, and the song is called Give Love on Christmas Day, but as we were talking about, we love every day, every moment. It's just not this holiday on one day. So that's the thing about that. I like this song. It's a beautiful song, but when I learn songs, I really go into the lyrics and I have to learn the lyrics and I can delve into it. But I want to say that we should give love every day, every moment of the day, even in passing of people that you see in the street or shopping, wherever. If there's someone needs help, that's where you show love every day. Us going out to the community, that's showing love every day. So this is a Christmas song, but it's not the message in the song should be every day, not just on Christmas. But it's a pretty song.